A very warm good morning to all my students of class 6, and I am happy to welcome you all again to one more zoology class, and today's class will be on chapter 4. What is chapter 4? The digestive system, right? That's what we were learning about all these days. So today we will learn about a topic called as nutrition, steps and process. We have already learned about the definition of nutrition and also the parts of the digestive system in our previous classes, right? So today's class we will focus only about the steps and process in the process of nutrition. Okay, so let's get started. There are 5 steps in nutrition. How many? There are 5 steps in nutrition. What are they? They are called as ingestion, digestion, absorption, assimilation and ejestion. So what are the 5 steps? Ingestion, digestion, absorption, assimilation and ejestion. So full of shuns, right? So you need to remember these 5 terms and then learn what these 5 terms are. So I'll tell you a short trick so that you can remember these 5 terms easily. What is that? Okay, you just learn this sentence. I do all activities easily. What is this? I do all activities easily. Just to make you remember these 5 terms easily, I have given you this sentence, nothing else. Okay, so I for ingestion, and do, D for digestion, A for absorption, one more A for assimilation, and EC, E for ejestion. Easy, right? Now, so I do all activities easily. Ingestion, digestion, absorption, assimilation and ejestion. So these 5 terms are now familiar to you, right? So now we learn what these 5 terms are, what these 5 processes are. Okay, so the entire nutrition process includes these 5 steps all together only. You call it by the term nutrition. Okay, so let's start with the process called as ingestion. So what is ingestion? Actually, before explaining about ingestion, I like to tell you one thing. See, in our common life, in our general life, we use many terms, okay. So, but scientifically or biologically or technically, they are called by different names, okay. Say for example, in this case, ingestion is eating, okay. Generally, we in our general life we tell that we are eating, but the scientific term or biological term for eating is ingestion. Simple, right? It's not something a very big process, just eating is called as ingestion. What is eating? If I tell you, okay, explain what is eating, what will you tell me? You will tell eating is taking in of food through my mouth. Right? That's what you will tell me. So ingestion is also nothing but taking in food through the mouth. So what is ingestion? Taking in food through the mouth is called as ingestion. Okay. So along with this taking in, there are 2 more things. Okay. What do you do after you take in? You bite the food, right? How do you bite? You bite with your teeth. Do you only bite? You bite, you chew the food and you grind the food, right? You bite, chew and grind. Why do you do this all? You can put it inside your mouth and swallow directly, no? Why do you need to chew? What are you doing? You are trying to break the bigger food particles into smaller particles so that you can swallow it easily. Otherwise, you cannot swallow, right? So, ingestion includes 3 steps actually. Number 1, what you call eating, no? Taking in food through your mouth. Number 2 is you bite the food. What you do? You bite, you chew and you grind the food. Why? So that it is mechanically broken down. The food is broken down. Then what happens? So after biting, do you swallow directly? No. The food actually, without your knowledge itself, involuntarily, it mixes with the saliva. You have saliva in the mouth, no? Even when you eat a chocolate or something, do you swallow the chocolate directly? So as soon as you put a chocolate in your mouth, what happens? The sweet is mixed with the saliva so that you taste and relish them, right? So saliva also, not only for chocolate, for any food, the saliva plays an important role. So what is the saliva doing? It does three functions. What does it do? It moistens the food. What is moisten? Moisten means moisture. It adds water to the food. The food is dry, right? Except for liquids, all solid foods are dry. So it moistens the food, that is, it adds water to the food. Then it makes the food soft. So when you mix with the saliva, the food becomes soft so that it is easy to be swallowed. Okay, so what saliva does? It moistens the food, that is, it adds water to the food, it makes the food soft, and it is easy for the food to be swallowed. So this is all happening in ingestion. What is ingestion? Ingestion means eating. So you take in the food through the mouth, and then your teeth bites the food, chews the food, and grinds the food so that the bigger food particles are mechanically broken down, and then it is mixed with the saliva so that the food is moistened, the food is soft, and that it can be swallowed. So that's all about the first step called as ingestion. What is the second step? The second step is digestion. So ingestion has 3 points, just recall. So the second step is digestion. What is digestion? Digestion is the breaking up of complex food particles into simple food particles. What is complex? Complex means it is bigger in size as well as it is bigger in its chemical nature. Okay, so when you go to your higher grades, all you will know, when you draw the structure of carbohydrates or starch, the structure is a very big long structure. Okay, it's not big, it is actually a complex or complicated structure. You are just grade 6. When you go to your higher grades, you will know better. Just remember now that there are big substances or big structures when you eat, but by the time when it is digested, all these big particles are going to become smaller particles. That is what happening in digestion. So what is digestion? Breaking up of bigger food particles into smaller particles is digestion. Okay, so what all participates in digestion? There are 3 parts of your body participating in digestion. Okay, what did I tell you? Digestion means some parts of your body are struggling or it is its duty. Okay, so it breaks the bigger food substances into smaller food substances. What are those 3 parts? Number 1 is mouth, number 2 is stomach, and number 3 is small intestine. So which all parts of your body breaks the bigger particles into smaller food particles? Mouth, stomach, and intestine. In this slide you will be learning about how mouth can break the food, and in the next 2 slides we learn about stomach and small intestine. So how mouth breaks the food particles? Already in ingestion itself we have studied that teeth can break they can bite, chew or grind the bigger food particles into smaller food particles, right? So what else is happening? In your mouth you have a liquid called as saliva, right? You have saliva and it is secreted by salivary gland. This structure all, the glands all you have studied in your previous zoology classes, right? So you know that saliva secreted by the salivary glands. This saliva has an enzyme called as salivary amylase. So what is the name of the enzyme? It is called as salivary amylase. What is the function of this salivary amylase? This will break bigger food particles into smaller food particles. Okay, salivary amylase can break bigger food particles into smaller food particles. But keep in mind that amylase is an enzyme which can act only on carbohydrates. Though it is an enzyme, it cannot break any food particle. It can break only carbohydrates. Okay. So here if you see what is given, salivary amylase converts starch into maltose, or it breaks starch into maltose. I told you amylase can act only on carbohydrates, right? Why starch is given here then? Starch, because starch is a carbohydrate. Starch is a carbohydrate. The rice what you eat has so much of starch. Okay, it is a carbohydrate. It gives you energy. So the food, suppose if you eat rice, no, in your mouth itself, partially the rice is broken down with the help of your teeth and with the help of salivary amylase. Why? Because this is the enzyme which will act on carbohydrates or starch. Okay, so your mouth has saliva. That saliva, where does it come from? From the salivary glands. What does it have? It has an enzyme called as salivary amylase. What is the function of salivary amylase? It can break any carbohydrate. Example is given in your textbook as it is breaking starch to give smaller particles of sugar. This is also a sugar or carbohydrate again, but it is not a carbohydrate. It is a simple sugar. Okay, so many small sugars only make a big carbohydrate. So when a big carbohydrate starch is broken down, it will give small sugars called as maltose. So maltose is a small sugar, starch is a very big carbohydrate. Okay, about this you will be learning in your higher classes more in detail. For now you just know maltose is some small structure of sugar and starch is a very big carbohydrate. Okay. We have one more term called as a bolus. Have you heard this word before? Bolus. What is bolus? Bolus is the chewed food. You are chewing the food in your mouth, no? That food plus the saliva together you call by the word bolus. Okay, so food separately you call it as food, right? Saliva separately you call it as saliva. When this chewed food and saliva is mixed together, you have a pasty like nature, no? The food is not dry. When it is mixed with saliva, you have a sticky nature, and that is called as bolus. So it is called as a semi-solid food. Semi-solid food means a solid food mixed with some liquid. So what have we seen in the mouth? What all happens? Mouth saliva is secreted by salivary glands, and the salivary amylase can break starch into maltose, and the chewed food plus the saliva is called by the word bolus, and this bolus is a semi-solid food. So next we learn about what is happening in the stomach. So what all happens in the stomach? So this is the second organ or the part of your body which is taking part in digestion. So ingestion we have completed. In digestion what we have learnt about mouth we have learnt. Now we are going to learn about how digestion takes place in stomach. What is digestion? Breaking up of big particles into small particles. No? How can a big food particle be broken down into small food particle in stomach? About that only you are going to learn how all it can be broken down. So before it is broken down, there is a term called as peristalsis. What is the word? Peristalsis. What is this peristalsis? It is a wave-like motion. It is like a wave-like motion. Where is wave inside your digestive tract? See, the food what you swallow, no, it doesn't directly go into the where you swallow. From your mouth you chew the food and swallow. So from the mouth it reaches the stomach. So from mouth to stomach. Through where? Through esophagus. What is this esophagus? When we have studied about the structure of the parts of the digestive system, you have studied that esophagus is a long tube which connects the mouth and the stomach, right? So this food what you eat will start from the mouth and reach the stomach through the esophagus. Okay, so how it reaches? Does it fall all of a sudden like this? No, it will not fall because it is a very small tube. This esophagus is a very small tube. Okay, so how it moves from the mouth till your stomach? By wave-like motion. See, you cannot, don't expect, you may think where is the wave? We don't see waves in the throat all, but it is like a mild wave-like motion. It is because this wave, from where the wave is created, you have muscles throughout your body, no? The muscles of your digestive tract will contract and relax. So by this contract, when it contracts, it will push the food a little down. When it relaxes, the food will again be there. Again when it contracts, it will push it again down. Okay, so by this repeated or alternative contraction and relaxation, through a wave-like motion, the food will pass from the mouth till the stomach. Okay, so this movement is called as peristalsis. So what is peristalsis? It is like a wave-like motion which can take the food from the mouth till the stomach. From where the wave comes? It comes from alternate contraction and relaxation of the muscles. Clear? So this is about a peristalsis. Here it is not about breaking of food, just it is a term. Okay. So how all the food is broken? So I told you, digestion is big food particle has to be converted into small food particles. See, the only mechanical part is your teeth, only the teeth will break. Other all things which break, no, they are all enzymes. What is the function of this enzyme? You must have heard this word, and being a grade 6 student, you may not know what is an enzyme, right? So enzymes are something which can break a bigger particle into smaller particle. Okay, how they break? They are not like teeth, they are not big particles. No, how they will break? They will break by chemical reaction. So enzymes are substances which can break food, bigger food into smaller food with the help of, it is not by physical or mechanical means, it is by chemical reaction. Already we have seen about salivary amylase, no? You know it breaks starch into maltose, right? So similarly in this stomach, you have already in the parts of the stomach you have studied, stomach has what does the wall of the stomach has? Gastric gland. The wall of the stomach has gastric gland which can secrete gastric juice. This gastric juice contains 2 enzymes and 1 acid. So what all gastric juice contains? 2 enzymes, 1 acid. What is that 1 acid? It is called hydrochloric acid. And whenever there is acidic nature in the stomach, it can kill bacteria. So from where you got the bacteria? The food you eat is not sterile. Are you sterilizing the food and eating? No, right? Along with your hands will have germs, or else the food itself will have germs, right? So all these bacteria will come through your hand or the food itself. So those bacteria are all killed in the stomach by hydrochloric acid. Then I told there are 2 enzymes. Now the first enzyme is called pepsin and the second enzyme is called renin. Pepsin, renin. So what pepsin does? Pepsin, you know, in the mouth itself already your carbohydrates are all digested with the help of salivary amylase. So pepsin means enzyme which can break protein. Amylase means enzyme which can break carbohydrate. What are the main food what we eat? Carbohydrates, proteins and fats, right? Those 3 are the major nutrients what we eat. So here in mouth, amylase will break carbohydrates. In the stomach, pepsin will break proteins. So these proteins are broken by pepsin and it is converted into smaller amino acids. See, many amino acids or smaller proteins will all be packed together to form a large protein. Okay, so these proteoses and peptones are small proteins. So this is a complex protein. You don't call it by the word proteins, you call it as amino acids or smaller units of proteins. Okay, so a protein, a big protein is broken down into smaller proteoses and peptones with the help of an enzyme called as pepsin. Clear? So there is one more enzyme called as renin. What is the function of renin? We have already studied. Renin is found in infants. What is the speciality of renin? When the infants drink milk, the milk is broken down into, I told you enzyme's function is to break down, right? So they break down renin into a smaller substance called as casein. So renin is bigger particle, casein is smaller particle. That's why curdling of milk. Do you know what is curdling? Sometimes when babies vomit all, no? Have you seen, if you have your brother's child or sister's child all, you must have seen, or if you have a younger sibling at home. So when the babies vomit, the milk will not be like a milk, it will be like curdled, it will be like a curd like structure, right? Why? Because of this enzyme renin. As soon as the child consumes, or even only infants have this renin. So when child consumes milk, it will break into this smaller particle so that your body can digest the milk. Okay, so what digests milk? A substance called as renin. What digests protein? A enzyme called as pepsin. So what all happens in the stomach? First, by peristalsis from the mouth till the stomach through the esophagus, a wave like motion which is formed by alternative contraction and relaxation occurs. In that moment, that wave like motion movement is called as peristalsis. Next, you will have enzymes to digest in your stomach. Those enzymes are present in a juice called as gastric juice, which is from the gastric gland, and they have three substances: hydrochloric acid, which can kill bacteria; pepsin, which will break protein to proteoses and peptones; and renin, which will break proteins into casein. So this is all happening in the stomach. And one more term, there is a term called as chyme. So already you have learnt a term called as a bolus. Now what is bolus? Bolus is chewed food plus the saliva. What is chyme? Chyme is bolus plus gastric juice. When the bolus from the mouth mixes with gastric juice, it is called by the word, what is the word? Chyme. Okay, so chyme is bolus plus gastric juice. Chyme is equal to bolus plus gastric juice. This also you have to keep in mind. So next we have learnt about stomach we have learnt, and also we have learnt about mouth. So what is left behind in the process of digestion? Small intestine, right? So next we will see how small intestine is involved in digestion. So in small intestine, do you remember the structure of small intestine? We have studied about three structures, right? What are they? Duodenum, jejunum and ileum, right? There are three parts in small intestine. The upper part duodenum, middle jejunum and lower part is ileum, right? So in this digestion process, only the duodenum and ileum are going to involve. Okay. In duodenum, you have two juices. One is the bile juice, the second one is the pancreatic juice. So you know there is a gland called as gallbladder. Do you remember when we studied the parts of the digestive system? This gallbladder will produce a juice called as, what is the juice? Bile juice. Gallbladder produces bile juice, and this bile juice is released into the duodenum. Whenever needed, the gallbladder will release bile into the duodenum. So once the bile comes into the duodenum, it will change the duodenum alkaline in nature. What is this alkaline? Alkaline means pH greater than 7. Alkaline means the pH is greater than 7. You will learn about this in chemistry. Just remember, alkaline means pH is greater than 7. So whenever there is alkaline nature, an enzyme called as pancreatic enzyme will be active. What is the condition for pancreatic enzyme to be active? If pancreatic enzyme has to be active, there should be alkaline nature. So because of the gallbladder giving bile to the duodenum, it becomes alkaline in nature, and now the pancreatic enzymes are becoming active. So what are these pancreatic enzymes? Pancreatic enzymes are of three types called as pancreatic amylase, trypsin and lipase. What are they all? They are all enzymes, pancreatic enzymes. The first one will act on carbohydrates, the second one will act on proteins, the third one will act on lipase. See what we eat? We eat three major nutrients called as carbohydrates, proteins and fats, right? So we have all three enzymes in pancreatic enzymes. To digest carbohydrate you have amylase, to digest proteins you have trypsin, to digest fat you have lipase. So what it is going to do? Amylase will break carbohydrates and give small sugars called as maltose. Trypsin will break proteins and give small proteins called as peptides. Lipase will act on fat and give small fats called as fatty acids and glycerol. So you have enzymes in the small intestine to break carbohydrates, proteins and lipase. So the lowermost part of the small intestine called as ileum also have what? Certain enzymes. What are they? There are four enzymes present: eripsin, maltase, sucrase and lactase. What are the enzymes? Eripsin, maltase, sucrase and lactase. What they do? They also break the larger food particles into smaller ones. Say for example, maltase will break maltose, sucrase will break sucrose, lactase will break lactose. So they also break big food particles into small particles. So this is what happening in small intestine. With all these enzymes, big food particles are broken down into smaller food particles. I told you these enzymes will, what they do, they are all like chemical reactions. Teeth means you will have mechanical breakdown, no? Which means you have something to break the food, to crush the food, but this is all chemical reaction. Through chemical reaction, big food particles are broken down to small particles. So this is about the small intestine. So now we have completed the process of digestion, how mouth is involved, how stomach is involved, and how small intestine is involved in digestion we have seen. So what is the next step? Then before the next step, let's see the final products of digestion. We have learned digestion is breakdown of big food particles to small food particles. So what all we eat generally? We eat carbohydrates, we eat proteins and we eat fats, right? So what will happen to these three? That is what given in the slide. What will happen to the carbohydrates you eat? It is broken down into small particles called glucose. Carbohydrates are broken down to glucose. What glucose do? You also have that glucon D or something, no? That green color packet. The athletes all will be having it and mixing in water and drinking that, no? So what it gives? It gives energy. So always carbohydrates are broken down to, this is a general rule. Till your higher grades you will be studying this again and again. Carbohydrates are broken to glucose. What glucose does? It gives energy. What about proteins? You eat so much of proteins. What happens after digestion? All the proteins you eat are converted into amino acids. What are they converted into? Amino acids. And what is the use of eating protein? If you eat protein, you will have nice growth and repair in your body. About this also we have studied in the nutrition introduction part. And then fats, whatever you eat, will be converted into, after digestion with the help of all the enzymes, it is converted into fatty acids and glycerol. See, when you eat so much of fat, what will happen? It will be stored under your skin. So excess fat will gain you body weight. Why? Because it is all stored under the skin. Fats are broken down to fatty acids and glycerol, which will not be used like energy, but it is just deposited under the skin. So please avoid eating so much of fat. Eat in limits. Okay. So this is about the end products of or final products of digestion. Okay. Next we will see about, so digestion and ingestion is done. Next we will see about a step called as absorption. What is this absorption? The food what you eat in mouth, right? Through the mouth you eat, and it is going into the stomach. But how the blood takes, why blood should take, why do you eat? You eat because each cell of your body needs the nutrients. Whatever you eat should go to each cell of the body. How it will go? It is inside your stomach, right? It has to go to every cell. How it will go? From the stomach, it will go into the blood, and the blood will only give the nutrients to every cell. Okay. So from stomach it will go into the blood, and blood will give the nutrients to every cell in your body. So from the stomach it is absorbed into the blood, no? From your stomach it is absorbed into your blood, and that process is called as absorption. Let's see the definition. What is it? Absorption is a process where end products of nutrition, so end products of digestion. So after digestion you have small glucose, small amino acids, small fatty acids and glycerol, no? All these things are absorbed into the blood. The end products of digestion, what we have seen in the previous slide, are absorbed into the blood, and that absorption process is called absorption. Okay. So where all absorption takes place? In your body, absorption takes place in two places. Number one is small intestine, and number two is small intestine. So already when we have studied about the detailed structure of small intestine, I told you the walls of the small intestine have finger-like projections. Do you remember? Finger-like projections, and it is called as villi. Do you remember? So in the small intestine, what happens? This villi will absorb all the food into the blood. Why? Because this villi will be having blood capillaries, which are blood vessels which can take in the nutrients. So let's look into the slide. What the slide says. Small intestine have villi. What are villi? These finger-like projections which have large surface area. I have described in the structure of small intestine, right? They have large surface area. And what is new? What you are studying new in this slide? They have network of capillaries, which means they have so much of blood vessels which can take these end products of nutrient digestion into the blood. Okay, I told you, no? The food from the stomach has to enter into the blood. Where is the entry point? The capillaries of the villi is the entry point. Through the blood vessels of villi only, the food from stomach is getting into the blood. And what is happening here in the large intestine? You eat so much of, you take in so much of water, no? You take curry all with so much of liquid, but in the morning when you release out the waste product, you get solid material. Where are all the liquid? Of course, through urine also the liquid portions are expelled. But what your body will do, no? It will try to absorb or retain maximum water. It will not let even single drop of water to go out unnecessarily. As much as it can hold, it will hold. So which is the part of your body holding or retaining the water? The large intestine. So here whatever water is possible to be absorbed is absorbed by the large intestine. So what is given? Water is absorbed from undigested food. Why undigested food? Because only undigested food will be left behind. All digested food is already taken by the villi into the blood. So this is about absorption. The next step is called as assimilation. What is this assimilation? Now from the stomach the food has entered into the blood. Now what did I tell you? The objective of eating. Why do you eat? Because each cell of your body should get nutrients of food, right? So that process of giving nutrients to every cell of your body or every part of your body is called assimilation. So from the blood, so you know villi has taken the food into the blood, right? So this blood will give to every cell. This process is called assimilation, the process in which the absorbed nutrients by the villi is given to every part of your body or every cell. Why every cell needs? For energy and also growth of your body, every cell needs. Okay, so the process in which the absorbed nutrients are used by the body is called assimilation. So from the blood it is given to every cell for use of your body for growth and repair is assimilation. How your body is using. Absorption means from stomach how it is taking into the blood. Assimilation means from the blood how it is given to every cell for the body to use. So from the villi it is taken into the blood and from the blood it is given to every cell. Okay, so here before that, see, I skipped this. Why? I need to explain this more. So before the blood is given to every cell, 3 steps are taking place. Okay, what are those 3 steps? Where it takes place? It takes place in the liver. Do you remember? In the parts of the digestive system we have learnt liver is a triangular shaped structure, right? So that triangular shaped structure is doing 3 important jobs. Number 1, if you have excess of glucose, see, glucose gives you energy, you know, but you will not use all the glucose all of a sudden. Only some energy you need. I need some energy to stand now. Okay, I will not use 100% of the energy what I ate in the morning, right? So where will be the excess glucose? It is stored in the form of glycogen. It is no more glucose, but the liver will store it in the form of glycogen for future use. So if at all I am not eating in the afternoon, then what will happen? This glycogen which is stored in my liver will be used in the afternoon. Whenever I starve or whenever I don't eat, no, that time this glycogen will be used. What will happen to excess amino acids, that is excess protein if I eat? Say for example I like chicken. Okay, so I eat so much of chicken one day, but my body does not need all of them as a protein. So what will happen? The excess will be converted to waste products as urea. Okay, but if you eat carbohydrates, no, it will be stored in your body, but proteins, when you eat so much, no, it will just be pushed out of your body in the form of urea in your waste material or feces. And the third part is detoxification, which is we don't eat all good products, no. There are men who consume alcohol, no, whiskey, it's all alcohol, right? So that alcohol, or sometimes if a person takes in poison or something, okay. So these are all toxic products to your body. Okay, so sometimes when you eat, no, first not you, when some people eat, what the body does, no, it will try to, the liver of your body will try to detoxify. Detoxify means it will try to remove from your body. So first time what, when a person consumes alcohol, the body itself will repair. If the person is addicted for so many years, finally his parts of your body, liver, kidney, all will be damaged, right? But initially the liver will try to detoxify or repair whenever it senses there is some extra unnecessary substance eaten by the person. So that is called detoxification. It will try to remove the unnecessary products from your body. So this is about assimilation. So one more last step we have, what is that? Ejection. So just I have given the structure of the large intestine to show you rectum and anus. So we have studied already in the structure of large intestine. Just know two things, this is rectum and this hole through which the feces will pass out is the anus. So before that you have some area, no, that is called as rectum. So why I have this picture, I will tell you. So now the food is all digested and then it is absorbed by the blood, all the nutrients are absorbed by villi, all the waste excess water is absorbed by the large intestine. Okay, so you have undigested materials, some materials are undigested and that you pass out of your body. Okay, so the technical term of that waste product, no, that waste material, it is called feces. What is feces? Feces means a waste product what you release out in the morning. Okay, so the technical term for that waste product is called feces. Okay, this feces until ejection means passing out waste materials out of your body. What is ejection? Passing out waste materials from your body. So until you pass out, it is stored in rectum. Okay, where are they stored? They are stored in the rectum. Which is the rectum? This is the rectum, just above the anus. The hole through which the waste material is released out is called anus. Okay, the hole through which the waste material is released out is anus. What all the waste material contain? You pass out waste material, no, what all it contains? It will have all these substances, fibers, dead cells, bacteria and bile pigments. Okay, so these are all the 5 steps of nutrition we have learnt in detail. So next we will come to homework part. So the answers for your previous homework, page number 53 in your biology book. Number 4 pepsin and number 5 nutrients is the right answer. So if you have written wrong answers, please do correct. And who was the one who gave me the first right answer in the last class? Yes, it is Adonia. Adonia or Adonia, I don't know. Adonia, I guess. So the student has given me the first right answer. So very good. So keep sending me the right answers quickly so that your name will be displayed in the next class. So what is for your today's homework? For today's homework, see, only 1 or 2 questions I am giving you, no. Just give it a try whether it is correct or wrong. Please do send me the right answer in page number 57 in your biology book. Question number 2, you will try to write with your pencil in your book and send me to this WhatsApp number. So that's all for today's class. So until I meet you in your next class, you all take care and bye-bye.